Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. In this video, I'll show you how you can create a virtual machine on Microsoft Azure. So first thing, you have to open up a web browser. You can use any web browser here. And then you have to search for portal.azure.com. And then it will ask you to sign in with your global admin account. So you just have to sign in with your global admin account here. And once you are signed in, you have to click on this search resources bar and then just search for virtual machines and then click on this virtual machines icon here. Then I'll click on this create option and then I'll choose Azure virtual machine. And then you will see these options here. So first one is basic steps where you will define basic properties of your virtual machine that you are going to create. So first thing is subscription. So you have to choose the subscription uh, on which your virtual machine will be built. So in my case, it is a Azure subscription one, so I'll choose that. And then we have to decide which resource group I want this virtual machine to be part of. So in my case, I don't have any resource groups available, so I'll click on create new, and then I'll name this resource group machines. And then next is virtual machine name. So what do you want to name this virtual machine? So I'll just name it as Windows Server. And then we have region. So in which region you want to deploy this virtual machine. So as of now, there are 52 regions are available in this whole world for Microsoft Azure. So you can decide in which region you want to deploy this virtual machine. So what I'll do, I'll choose this North Europe location for my virtual machine, but it is kind of your personal choice in which region you want to deploy this virtual machine. Then we have availability options. So these are different availability options. Uh, it is mainly for redundancy. So in case if your this virtual machine goes down, then you still have a backup virtual machine or any kind of backup uh, that can be deployed as soon as your virtual machines goes down. So these are the availability options that you have in Azure. So I'm not going to discuss all the availability options in this video. So I'll just click on this no infrastructure redundancy required, and here security type will be standard, and then here is the image that we want to use for this virtual machine. So by image, they're asking is which operating system you want to deploy on this virtual machine. So I'll be using Windows 10 Professional, so I'll just select that machine here. And then we have VM architecture. So what kind of architecture you want this virtual machine to run on. So it is 64-bit, so I'll just choose this option here. And then we have VM size. So VM size is basically, uh, so there are different sizes that are available on Microsoft Azure, and each size have a number of resources available for a virtual machine. So for example, standard DS1, this size will give you one virtual CPU, will give you 3.5 gigs of memory. And if you want something more than that, like if you want 8 gigs of memory or more than one virtual CPU, then you have to select a different size. So like if you want 8 gigs of memory and if you want two virtual CPUs for this virtual machine, then you have to choose this standard D2AS size. So that's how sizes are defined in Azure. So each size have a different uh, resources, like different physical resources for a VM. So it's kind of your personal preference, like for what reason you are going to use that virtual machine. So you have to decide based on that. And one thing to note here, once you will deploy this virtual machine, you can always change the size of the virtual machine. So in case if you have chosen the wrong size and if you want to scale it, you can do it after you have deployed the virtual machine. So it is something that you can change later as well. So my case, I'll just choose this standard DS1v2 size, and then I have to assign the username like admin username and admin password for this VM. So I'll just name it as this username and I'll type in the password. And here is the public inbound port. So make sure you choose this option. If you will do this none, then you won't be able to connect to this virtual machine from your laptop or desktop. So make sure you uh, choose this option, allow selected ports. And then in selected inbound ports, we will choose RDP because this is a Windows virtual machine and we'll be connecting to this machine using a remote desktop protocol application that we have on your Windows system. So make sure you allow this port as well. And then I'll give the consent here and then I'll click on next. And here is the disk option or storage option that we will define for this VM. So we have like operating system disk, like what kind of disk this will be. Like, do you want this to be a premium SSD, yes, standard SSD or standard HDD? So it's kind of your personal choice or your reason, like why you want to use this virtual machine. So you can decide it based on that. So I'll choose this standard HDD and then I'll click on next. And here's the networking section. So this is the section where you define like what will be the private subnet for your virtual machine, what public IP address you want to assign to this virtual machine, and these kind of things. So here, make sure you will assign this public IP address here. So by default, it creates a public IP address for you. So make sure you let that selected. In case if you don't want your machine to get a public IP address, you can choose it as none. But here's the thing, like if you do not assign the public IP address to your machine, then you won't be able to connect to it. So make sure you create one or you as it is right now by default. So yeah, just let that happen and then you will be able to remote in. So other than that, you don't have to make any modification on this page. Then click on next and then click on next, advanced, tags, review and create. And here's the last page where you can see all the options that you have chosen for this machine. And then you can like, once you are satisfied with these configuration, you can just click on create. So now our virtual machine is deploying. It can take somewhere about like 2 to 5 minutes. So I'll get back to you once the virtual machine is deployed. All right. So our virtual machine is deployed now. So I'll just click on this go to resource and it will take me to this virtual machine page here. So this is our virtual machine, Windows Server. And here in the overview section, you will see all the properties of your virtual machine, like status of the virtual machine, location in which it is deployed, part of the subscription this virtual machine is, and a resource group. And it will also give you the information like operating system it is running on, size of the hardware, public IP address, and virtual network and subnet. And these are all other options here. So let's see how we can remote into this virtual machine now. So you will see this connect option here. So you have to click on this and then you have to click on this connect option. And now it will give you the public IP address of this virtual machine. So I'll just copy this public IP address here and on my computer, I'll search for remote desktop connection, this application here, click on it. And then you just have to paste the public IP address here in this field. And then I'll click on connect. It will ask me for the username and password for this virtual machine. So remember we set up the username and password, the admin account username and password for this machine, right? So I'll just use that username and password here in order to remote in. And then I'll click on OK. And it will generate a prompt here where it will be asking you to like, do you want to accept this remote connection or not? So you have to just like click on this yes option here. And here we are in this new virtual machine that we just created. So this is how you can create a virtual machine on Microsoft Azure and how you can remote in. So this is how you do it for Windows operating systems. So if you are trying to deploy a Linux virtual machine, uh, then you have to use a protocol called SSH, and you will be remoting in using that. So I'll create a separate video for that in which I'll cover how you can create a Linux virtual machine and how you can remote in. But for this video, we saw how we can create a virtual machine based on Windows operating system and how we can connect to that virtual machine using our local computer. So don't forget to like this video. Please subscribe to my channel for new videos. So I'll see you in next video. Thank you.